Hi there, I'm Jules from thestonesoup.com and today I've got another fresh 6-ingredient dinner recipe for you. Okay, so I've got a saucepan on a high heat, like literally I've got it cranked. So I'm getting a good drizzle of oil in, and then we want 750 grams of sliced mushrooms, which is about 3 pounds. So it seems like a lot of mushrooms, but it's really, they're going to cook down a lot. So I'm just going to cook them until they're brown. So stirring like fairly often. Oh, and I've got my oven preheated to 220C, which is 425F, I think. Check the recipe. Great, so I've got the mushrooms off the heat and I just cooked them. It's probably about 7 or 8 minutes by the time. So you just want to cook them. I just had it on the high heat the whole time until most of the liquid has evaporated. You'll get a lot of liquid coming out. That's totally normal. And you can see they've cooked down quite a bit. So now we're going to get in our seeds. So I'm using half pumpkin seeds and half sunflower seeds, but you could use almond meal for this if you wanted, if you didn't have seeds, or you could use all sunflower or all pepitas. Either's fine. And we're going to get in a teaspoon of fine salt. Kosher salt's fine. I'm using Himalayan salt. And then we're just going to use a stick blender. Now, if you didn't have a stick blender, you could do this in a food processor, or you could chop it by hand, but if you don't have either, but stick blender works really well. And we just want to puree the mushrooms till it's, kind of smoothish. I'll show you. Great, so I've gotten pretty much most of the seeds and the mushrooms pureed. I don't mind leaving a few chunky bits, but if you're cooking for small children, if I was going to be giving it to my boys, I would take more time to make sure it was completely pulverized. But I think it's nicer to have a few kind of mushroomy bits to add some texture. And then we're just going to get in eggs. So we want 6 eggs, and you want these at room temperature. It's fine if they're from the fridge. You just expect it to take a little bit longer in the oven. And then we just want to give that a stir just to mix the eggs in. And if you want it to be higher protein, you can add a couple of extra eggs. I have done that, but I actually prefer the texture when it gets a bit on the eggy side. So I like this texture is just really nice balance. So just give that a good stir. Oh, and I should have mentioned before, when you're using the stick blender, of course, be super careful because, hot mushrooms can spray up at you. So yeah, be really careful when you're doing that. Okay, then I've just got a large loaf pan that I've lined with baking paper. So we're just going to get our mixture in the middle. If you want the exact measurements of the pan, check the written recipe. Just give that a shake. Wipe any bits off the side. Take the pegs off because they don't need to go in the oven. So the mushroom loaves actually looks like a loaf of bread, doesn't it? It's had 20 minutes in the oven. You can see it's all risen and puffy, and that's a bit where I haven't stirred the egg in very well, but that's fine. So what I'm going to do is just let it cool for a couple of minutes so I don't burn my fingers, and then I'm going to turn it out onto a plate and then sprinkle over some goat's cheese and some parsley leaves, and it is good to go. So if you enjoyed this recipe, come on over to my blog. It's thestonesoup.com, and you can download a free ebook filled with simple recipes just like this one.